From Brewworks, I have a Centrist IPA. I'm going to tell you about this beer. It's a 5.9% ABV, kind of a combination of a New England style IPA and a West Coast style, hence the name. The beer was, honestly, it was a mistake. Why it was a mistake, we thought we had a bunch of Galaxy hops, and we were making this along with other beers and other fermenters, all IPAs, and everything was just chugging along perfect. We taste off the fermenter as the beer progresses before we package it, and you're getting data and you're tasting. And most of our IPAs at that point were just tasting beautiful. When they're freshly hopped, they have a pepperiness at the back of the mouth, and that subsides relatively quickly over the course of, say, 5 to 7 days. That'll drop off. So you ever buy a very fresh IPA and it's super peppery, but then you let it sit for a week and then you taste it again, it tastes a lot more juicy and tastes way better. Well, that's because what's happened is it's called biotransformation. Biotransformation is where the hop chemistry changes. So hop chemicals get into beer either by the boil, which isn't going to get the fruity flavors that we like in the juicy IPAs. You'll get the juicier flavors from the whirlpool and then the dry hopping. So what happens is you put the dry hops into a fermenter, and the hop chemistry changes because of the yeast you use. So one of the things that we learned was we use a different yeast than we normally do for our hazy IPAs. That was one thing that contributed to the biotransformation. The other was how we did our dry hopping protocols, the timing. And I'm not getting into details because some of that stuff is proprietary, if I can say that word. But at the end of the day, we dry hopped this with what we thought was a lot of Galaxy, and we were really excited to have this, super tropical, super juicy IPA, and it turned out to be crazy bitter burning in the back of the mouth to a fault. And we didn't package it because I knew that this beer needed time, and if the yeast doesn't biotransform the hops and change that chemistry, time will, but it means you have to sit on it, and sitting on product business-wise isn't smart, but what are you going to do? I'm not going to sell a product that's not achieving what I want, which was a little bit more juicy. So we let it rest for a while, and we would taste it and taste it and taste it over time, and it got to where the hop burn at the back of the mouth definitely subsided, and then it was more on this danky side, but also had a little juice, not a ton, and it had the kind of the mouthfeel and the look of a New England style. So we decided to name it Centrist IPA, being that it kind of combined the ideas of a West Coast style IPA with the East Coast style IPA. West Coast being more on the bitter side, the East Coast being more on the hazy juicy. So this is a kind of if you could combine some of those beers together, this is what our interpretation would be. Now, do I want to make this again? Kind of do, because I like the idea. Only the next time I'm going to know what hops I'm going to pick so that I can replicate it. This, honestly, I just won't be able to replicate it again. But as far as the aroma, I mean, it's definitely, there's no Galaxy in this, 100%. We've used Galaxy before, so it's not like we're rooks on this. It smells juicy. I don't have any indication that it's going to have some bitterness to it. Now the flavor, it is not my style. I'm going to tell you up front, I am a juicy juice IPA guy. So I don't like West Coast style IPAs. It's just not my style. There's nothing wrong with them. But that bitterness, which some people love, I don't. But it definitely has that West Coast bite, kind of combined with the East Coast looks. So there you have it. Centrist IPA, 5.9% ABV. Come on in and give it a try. Cheers.